Hey everyone. So in this video I'm going to talk to you about some more of the background of where angels come from, how demons are made, yada yada yada. So, um, in the beginning, there's just God and a few other things. That's just kind of inexplainable. It was like before time. It's all very complicated and not worth the head scratching. Um, anyway, so I guess God feels lonely and he makes the universe. So, to regulate this universe, he creates angels, very powerful beings who can kind of take up or carry out his will on this thing, which, um, yeah, like programs in a computer. So, God says, okay, I'm going to make this wonderful creation. So, bing bang bada boom, evolution, magic, who cares? Point is, humans are made. Um, so, when these humans are made, God's like, okay, I like these guys. You angels, you should bow down to them because, I made them in my image. They are great beings with, you know, they're better, I guess. And while most of the angels do so, a small portion say, no, we won't bow down to them. They're made of, you know, dirt and earth or clay or something like that. We're made of light. We should not have to bow down to these people. So God is like, how dare you defy me? They get kicked out. So yada yada. There is a angel or an angel um, who comes around and says, "Hey, you guys, you should defy God's decree." Now these angels hate humans a lot. They hate them more than you can understand. Like for that reason, they were kicked out of divine grace. Like that's a no-no. Um, so these angels are kicked out. God's mad about it. Um, they start to tempt humans. These humans fall from grace, and now we are, you know, post Genesis. So, um, God has kind of like spirits in control of everything. Just like programs in a computer, they regulate the air we breathe, the trees we look at, the light we see. Spirits are everywhere. They're kind of in the background, just controlling everything, just like programs in a computer. And even Fae are kind of like spirits in control of certain things, though I would not consider them angels. That said, these spirits also exist in other dimensions. They are kind of like, think of a dimension not so much as like a separate bubble, although that's really what it is. Um, think of it more like a different layer. So like, here's the front layer. This is what we're looking at. Behind that, there is fairy, and people in fairy are working to, do what they do. Um, Generally speaking, horrible things. Um, right. So, when God makes humans, He makes them out of clay and dirt, but He also gives them a soul and a spirit. The soul is not every spirit has a soul. Um, Souls are kind of something that humanity is best for. Souls give us conscience, they give us ego. If you didn't have a soul, you'd basically just be a shell. There's really nothing there. Um, so, when a human dies, his soul moves on. Either it's usually resurrected in one of the many dimensions out there. Um, in the case of uh, hell, it's resurrected as this form that is very hurtable. Resurrection isn't literally giving it like a new physical form, although it sort of is. It's giving it a body in which to inhabit, and yeah. Um, not so much like a body, like a physical body, but like a energy body, but not even energy. It's kind of like it's very difficult to explain. Um, we're made of clay and dirt here. In heaven, we're made of light. In hell, we're made of fire. It's sort of like that. Um, that's not to say that you can't be hurt by the thing you're made of. Which again, even in hell, still people are hurting because of fire, but it's just the consensus. Um, so yeah, so then what happens to the soul when you die? You die, your egg breaks free. If you're bound to this earth, you're bound until somebody can unbind you. If not, you break free and go on to this other dimension. Um, Usually, an angel carries you to this other dimension. Think of like Valkyries and Valhalla, that sort of thing. Um, that's wherever you're supposed to go. So angels don't just carry you to the afterlife, to heaven. They carry you to everywhere. Because angels aren't just all these holy sanctimonious beings. Um, so when you get to your dimension, the exception of like heaven, you're just kind of like you're like Asgard or whatever. You are a soul, and you're given this new body. You're happy. You're healthy. Yada yada yada. If you go to hell, you're in eternal pain, and slowly over time, you kind of are broken into this new being who's incredibly angry. Um, Now, that race of angels who defied God, um, many of them were actually cast into hell. The thing is that an angel doesn't really get hurt by the flames. So, what God does is he binds them in hell, sort of like binding them to a chain, like supposed to describe it. These angels are kept in hell and they cannot leave, but they can still possess people. They're not demons because they're not evil, like, they're not human souls or spirits of the Nephilim. They are angels still. They still have angelic power, just like anyone else, although they are starving for uh, grace. Um, so, yeah, back to what I was saying before. So, the human soul goes to whatever dimension it goes to and then is warped into this other thing. That's why there's actually some Fae who were once human. It's the changeling story, except a lot different than how most historians tell it. A Fey being jumps into a human child. The human child's soul is ripped out, and then it's taken to Fairy, where it's warped into another Fey. Process begins all over again. Um, that's really just how it goes. In order to actually stop a changeling, you have to either find the soul or kill the body. In either case, it doesn't end well. Um, yeah, just about every single dimension changes the soul, or changes the entity of the person somehow. Um, and even when a earthbound soul is here, it's kind of changed just by being outside of our dimension. It doesn't really have a physical form anymore, so it manifests in other ways, and it's dangerous. But yeah, that's kind of just how it happens. Have you ever heard of a repeat haunting or a death echo, or there's lots of words for it. Think of like battlefield ghosts, where like every single anniversary of the battlefield, like it happens over again. Um, these are actually time is a very powerful thing, and it's very, very difficult to understand. But through intense emotional power, like given off by the human soul, it can actually warp dimensions to the point where it can even warp time, and time overlaps. So this is why some replay hauntings are spirits of people trapped in this loop because time won't let them be free. Um, so it's kind of different than a normal haunting, but just so you know. Um, but yeah, so these demons or these angels that are kept in hell, bound up, um, those are going to be released on Judgment Day. It's guys like the end of the world, these angels are released, all the demons are released from hell. The dimensional walls start to bleed, and they can literally manifest physically on Earth. Um, at this point, human souls are going to be more valuable than anything else to just about every single supernatural entity out there, because the human soul has incredible energy to it. It's like pure energy. While it can be corrupted or changed into a demon or whatever, um, entities can siphon that off and use it for dimensional magic shit. That's also what magic is really just moving dimensions to contact entities. Usually, in the case of like the Key of Solomon, through the name of God. It's a very powerful thing, and it exists across all dimensions. So when you have a spirit who, like in Judgment Day, there will be spirits who manifest physically. That's because these dimensional walls are breaking down and letting things through. So yeah, like Ragnarok and all that stuff. Okay, so that's basically it. I know it's very difficult to understand, but hopefully that helps. It helps me with hunting because I don't know, it kind of helps me understand how things work. If you know how things work, it's a lot easier to deal with them. So okay, um, yeah, have a good day, everyone, and happy hunting.